everyone, my name is Ahsoka and this is my first review. Today we'll be talking about V-Wars. So you guys don't know me yet, but back in the day I used to love the Vampire Diaries. So much so that I've watched its spin-off, the originals. I liked it so much that when I heard that Ian Somerhalder would be doing a new vampire show, I was definitely on board. It also helped that I found out that Smallville Supergirl was also going to be in it, so that was another good thing for it, I guess. So, what is V-Wars? V-Wars is a 10-episode Netflix science fiction horror show that is based on the same name comic book series. It doesn't actually always feel like a horror show. V-Wars follows the story of a scientist and his best friend as they face the evolving crisis of a deadly outbreak disease that will fracture society into two sides. So you know that V-Wars is a show about vampires, but what kind of vampires? Well, they're not your typical ones. They can walk in the sun without sparkling, garlic doesn't really affect them, and unlike the Vampire Diaries, they will also not burn themselves to death if they are in the sun. Also, something new about these vampires was the way that they were turned. They were turned through a deadly disease, which is a very different approach to what we've seen before. It's like zombies gone rogue. So before I start telling you guys about what really bugged me about the show, I think it's only fair that I tell you about the good things that it also has. I mean, yes, it's yet another vampire show, which there's a lot of it these days, but it also tries to bring something new to the table. It tries to be more realistic. It has a different approach from what we've seen before. It tries to show us if a vampire outbreak were to happen, how would it affect society? And if we couldn't stop it, how would we live with it? Something else that I found good about this show was the acting. I mean, the script isn't great, and I'll get back to it later, but the actors really try their hardest and it clearly shows. There's also an LGBT character. I wouldn't expect too much from the character, but it's there and it's better than a lot of other representation that we've seen before. Marvel! The action scenes were also good. They weren't like Jason Bourne great, but they were good given that it was a TV show and it clearly had a TV show budget. Something else that I think that it was not really the salvation, but that it really helped this show was the best friend dynamic. Yes, the show is about vampires, but in the core it's really about this best friend relationship and how everything that's happening is affecting it. Now that I mentioned everything good about the show that I can remember, I think we have to mention the elephant in the room. It's time for us to talk about the shitty things about V-Wars. So as I mentioned before, the script was terrible. I mean, you can clearly see that the dialogue feels off. Even when Luther is talking to his wife, it just doesn't feel natural. Maybe it's because I've seen too many TV shows and this isn't new to me, but it doesn't really feel like a natural conversation that a husband and a wife. So this is the last bad thing that I'm gonna say about the show, I promise. To me, it just feels too predictable. You know, it tries to do certain things with characters, and then it has this dun 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 moments that it really aren't surprising at all. I mean, I could see them coming from a mile away. Maybe it's just because I've seen too much television and movies that I'm just seeing stuff happening before it actually happens. But this show doesn't really nail that. Plus, I know it's trying to be a scary show with all those jump scares and the gory scenes, but just because a show has gory scenes doesn't mean that the gory scenes are actually good. If you guys already have Netflix and have a couple of hours to waste watching it, yeah, if you already have Netflix, maybe it would be something interesting and new for you guys to watch. If you can get past the first half of the season, it does get a little bit more interesting, and like I said, it has a good, oh, what was gonna happen next ending. So, I don't know, if I was a teacher and I was grading this paper, I would give it a C. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want, and also let me know in the comments below what other shows or movies you'd like me to review. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for our next review.